The Library of Babel. A short story by a guy in Argentina, it depicts a library in Babylon, probably, that contains every possible combination of 25 characters in 410-page books. And in that library, there's this group hellbent on finding that one true book that might not even exist. It's pretty interesting, but that's not what I'm talking about. Instead, Library of Babel. Fuck! Library of Ruina, a game inspired by that short little story, but it happens to be one of the best games I have ever played.
Goodbye.
Oh my, I think I busted something and no, it's not a nut. Welcome to, my eternal prison, where my dreams are crushed, my spirit broken down, and my hours wasted. I've seen hell, the screams of the dead, the most twisted form of humanity and what we can do to each other, and the immense pain I've been put through. And I enjoyed every single moment of it. And the best of it, ooh, oh my goodness gracious. I got nothing to say. However, what am I looking at? What is this game? What is a red? Why is it good? What the fuck is a Project Moon? November 16th. Fuck! No, it's not 16! I'm stupid! Alright. November 18th, 2016. El Director and 4 goons, all of whom were university students, made a company. A limbic called Project Moon, and on a budget of the average uni student, set out to create one of the worst experiences you can have while playing a game. This was known as Lobotomy Corporation, and just so happens I wanna get a lobotomy after playing this. Seriously, Assad, what the fuck is this shit? Does it look like I know what a JPEG is? To sum it up, SCP game, manage facility, fuck up, kill yourself before the hordes beyond human comprehension kills you.
Well guys, that went great.
That went horribly. It's in the manual. Then after that fucking trip, Kim Jae-hoon and his ragtag team of misfits focused on a different endeavor, the game I'm talking about. Then they just made Limbus Company, and like 2 light novels. Now how I got into the whole that is Project Moon games is a bit convoluted. So for Christmas, my brother decided it'd be nice to get me a $50 Steam gift card. Me, being a broke-ass jobless junior in high school, was overjoyed. And I bought Lobotomy Corporation with it. Why did I do that? Then, after being LobCorp, I finally got to Ruina. And honestly, LobCorp was pretty good, except when it wasn't. And I heard Ruina was a good game, so it set my expectations to around here. And it took that expectation and just... Needless to say, that shit got my Schwartz stroking and my hands rubbing my eyes because I cried. I cried like a little bitch, chat. I cried because of the 999 burn stacks I've been subject to 5 seconds into the GIII reception. And to be real with you, I would go through that again, that was pretty fun. I also cried because Roland is my friend. You don't get that yet, unless you play the game. But like, do you see this game with your eyeballs? It looks good is what I'm trying to say. Each of the menus in the game give that library feel, like I might actually be in the Grand Archives Dark Souls 3. Come. The card art is great, brace up reference. The battle stages of each floor also look beautiful. They didn't need to illustrate this, but it's appreciated. The CG's art style is unique among the slog of typical visual novels, and it carries over to the character design, which can be weird and zany. Seriously, what the fuck are you, and why do I love you? The game just looks really cool, until you get into combat, but we have mods to fix that. Damada Nega and Damada Frenga jump scare. And I don't know who's on that sound design team, but they have my hypothalamus producing the whatever it was neurotransmitter. From the card selection sounds to the... God, I just fucking love that. And don't even get me started on the music, dude. From the... to the, okay, this is the final boss now, we are fighting the final boss, we are the final boss now, that is Bina. My Jewish friend, who's the voice of all Jewish people, has advised me not to make the joke I was about to make. So, Kabbalah attack. The soundtrack doesn't miss, except when it does. But Gebra 3 makes up for it for my alarm sound. I wake up to this every morning. Then Mili out of nowhere just starts pulling up bangers for no reason. Then you get PTSD because you know fully well what the fuck a love town is. Thank you, Mili. I got Iron Lotus playing all year round, except for fall. And fuck you, Philip, this fight sucks ass. I still don't know what I'm looking at. This game is, how do I put it? Obtuse. And what I mean by that is that it just does not explain itself clearly at all. So let me try doing it for you. This is the pre-reception. On your left are your guests. You turn them into books. On the right is you. If you couldn't tell, the black screen should be a reflection of you. Now, I could tell you the thematic implications of us being on the right instead of the left, like in most games. However, I like to think it's because Angela is conservative and believes in all those good old-fashioned values on which we used to rely. Family Guy. Anyways, I guess have passives. Read them, it's necessary. Below them are pages, which are cards. You have them, read them, use them. Understand that singleton means that each page in your deck has to be unique. Do not be like me and put Will of the Prescript 3 times in the same deck. Assign each librarian a key page and make them a deck tailored to that key page. You get these by booking guests, then burning them. Now start the battle and immediately have a panic attack. Do not worry, I will hold your hand. Maybe for a little too long. Right here is where you will spend 50% of the game. The other 50% is spent building your decks. Look right here at these bars. No, not those, these. Red means health, yellow, stagger. You don't need me to explain what health does. Stagger is just an extra piece they added to add a little more depth to the game. Once it goes to 0, the person who got staggered can't do shit for a turn and takes double damage from attacks. The guys you control are what we're gonna call nuggets, which is a homage to Lobotomy Corporation. And above the nuggets are your speed dice. They can vary in amount, and the number inside them is the speed of that dice. The turn order is decided by this, and you can intercept attacks from guests if that speed dice has a higher number than theirs. And remember, it will always get more complicated later. Each speed dice can play a single page. pages that cost light, these little guys. And when the act starts and two pages go against each other, the two opposing pages enter a clash. In a clash, each page has a set number of dice, all with a set range of numbers it can roll. When two dice go up against each other, the one with the higher number wins and destroys the dice it is up against. There are a total of 6 things to look out for. 3 of them are attack dice and 3 of them are defensive dice. The offensive dice have pierce, slash, and blunt, which will be the main way of dealing damage. Win the clash, do damage. Keep note that resistances exist. Then you have the defensive dice, evade, block, and piss. Evade means when the guest is attacking and the nugget wins the clash, you get to reuse the evade dice for every subsequent attack dice on their page and you regain a little bit of stagger. It does not reuse when the evade dice loses the clash or clashes against another defensive dice. Block dice when the clash is won will completely nullify damage taken and deal stagger damage to the guest. However, it does not reuse itself on clash win. And if you lose with a block dice, you will take reduced damage based on the amount rolled. The piss dice are counters. They can take the properties of any dice set above and only activate upon an unopposed attack. They are also reused on clash win against any dice on a page. Are you tired yet? Because I haven't even gotten to immersion levels. Do not get me started. This game is also difficult. Along with the regular exceptions that require you to read, there are also abnormality fights which also need you to read. The difference being is that you need to read better for these fights. Sometimes the game just likes seeing you suffer, and some mandatory fights were actually so hard I got on my hands and knees to beg Angela to make my rolls stronger. In the community, these are known as the infamous difficulty spikes. I refer to this as the Limbus filter, as their victory relies on reading comprehension. And sheer luck, as it does correlate with skill after all. However, we can mitigate this. When the game pushes us to a limit, we push back even harder. Miongus, Fuck-ass Discord Death, Tiff Zodia, Bina Zodia, the Firing Squad, and whatever these guys are doing. This game is a deck builder after all, and by adding numbers to our dice and lowering the numbers on their dice, we make some wacky ass deck and pray for the best. The Library of Ruina is the house, and we are the house. And remember, the house MD always wins. There were times where the game did kick me to the ground so fucking hard I was in class thinking about possible build ideas for beating the ever-living fuck out of fucking Philip. I fucking hate you! A game for the masochists, I would say. However, the moment when the game finally lets you win. Better than the $1.29 SPT from Taco Bell. And unlike its predecessor, I actually do enjoy playing this game. It's so good at making you feel smart, like when you keep rereading the passives, and then it just clicks. And you stop clashing with reverse scale during power null turns, and you win instead of wondering why Zhao has 7 power and endurance. However, the gameplay is only one part of Ruina. This game would not be what it is without its story. It goes as follows. Street Thug Roland, officially known as Grid 9 Fixer Roland from Illusions. Listen here. I can't stand these miners. Now get out! Roland finds his way into the Library of Ruina on his way to the Ham Ham Pound Pop, which is real by the way, it's in Korea. In the library, Roland encounters her favorite girl with blue hair and pronouns, Angela. She's also a robot, don't forget that, it's integral to the plot. She employs him using questionable means, and after giving him a period cramp, they both set off to find that one true book along with Sephiroth from Final Fantasy, or as it's better known, Lobotomy Corporation. So, with the Sephiroth and Roland in tow, Angela sets out to collect more books in an attempt to become more human, meeting wacky and zany characters of the city before killing them in normal city fashion. A city where it is Cyberpunk 2070s. I'm lying, but it's not far off. The city is a city. Yeah, it's made up of 25 districts, all named after a letter of the alphabet, with the big guys being A Corp, B Corp, and C Corp. Don't ask me where Z Corp is, it probably ran away. In each district, there are 2 places, the back streets and the nest. Each district has its own unique technology known as a singularity, which usually involves some flavor of human suffering because something endgame capitalist dystopia, I don't know. The most important one you should know about is L Corp, because a majority of the main cast comes from Lobotomy Corporation as it takes place after the events of Lob Corp. And some characterization, the backstories of the characters, and the themes of blah 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 blah. You get the idea. So while it's not required that you play Lob Corp, I recommend doing so because you get to see the characters change real time, and it's cool seeing how they carries over in Ruina. There's also just a level of understanding that can't be gained from a summary or whatever is said in Ruina. The world building itself is also great. The land of Punt was a kingdom that the Egyptians traded with extensively. It lasted from 2500 to 980 BC. Stay with me now. It was so well known that no one actually bothered to write down the actual location to the place because it was common sense. Project Moon has basically mastered its train of thought. Things will be brought up, like the fixer associations, however since they're so well known, there's no reason to actually explain it. There's no 500-page exposition dump of Roland explaining what the she is, because it's just another thing in the city that exists. It's like asking you what basketball is, it would just be weird. And even when things are explained, it's only because Angela has little to no knowledge of the city, refer back to Lobotomy Corporation, so certain information is only explained when it is relevant. Lore dumps are mainly out of the way in key page stories, and I didn't even know they existed until I beat the game. More importantly, the story itself is tied to the gameplay. Without each point pulling its weight, the game falls apart like my friend's ability to read more than a sentence. Enemies exhausted in the story will have less health in the game. The sweepers known for being overwhelming are overwhelming. Credible threats feel like credible threats. It takes 15 people over the course of 3 floors to kill 1 purple grandma. Not only is every single guest stronger than the last, it definitely feels like every single guest is stronger than the last. This progression is so good, it's actually fucked. You are the dungeon, and these floors are the final boss that these heroes have to face in order to beat the evil and malicious force that is the library of Ruina. Watch as you quickly realize that we might actually be the bad guys in this, and when the game locks in on a certain guest, they do it exceptionally well. Thank you, glorious director of Project Moon Kim Ji-hoon, because what the fuck is a Zhao Genshin Impact, because this is the only Zhao that comes to my mind now. I can't get enough of these guys.
Scream if you love Yan.
They fit these completely wacko characters in a setting where I can completely see these guys existing, and they also aid in nailing the tone and the themes of the game as a whole. But the realest guys out there are a duo. Roland and Angela have gotta be some of the greatest protagonists I've ever seen. Roland is awesome sauce, a silly foil to the ever so stern Angela. Seeing these two interact is just fun. Despite the setting being what it is, Roland and Angela manage to have completely natural conversations, and it doesn't apply to just them. Project Moon in general is just really good with dialogue. I really do love Roland and Angela's bickering. It's silly and endearing.
어딘가의 사서님이 들었으면 팔다리 한 짝씩 날려버릴 만큼의 의미 부여된 말이었어.
책이나 분류하도록 해.
자, 여기서 두 번째 지시. 미친놈들은 언제나 일정한 비율로 존재하기 때문에 특정 기준으로 분별하는 건 의미가 없다.
개소리야.
힘들었어요? 지쳤어요? 쉬고 싶어요? 배고파요? 나가고 싶어요?
잘리고 싶어요? 뼈가 녹아요. 살이 터져요? 죽지는 않아요.
예, 죄송합니다. 그만하겠습니다.
Roland's story is one of tragedy, hatred, revenge, and indifference, the great flow as John Leviathan would say. Angela's greatest strength is her development. As she becomes more human, she learns and grows as a person, which is why playing Lobotomy Corp is integral to understanding Angela, because if you played Lob Corp and started Ruina, you would fucking hate this bitch. Then you learn more about her and what she went through, and you're like, oh, dude. What the fuck? That's why playing Lob Corp is important to understanding her as a character, as without it, her story loses a lot of the nuance that makes her character and Ain's character great. Roland and Angela have done some horrible things in the past, which is why I get confused when I hear people say that nothing ever happens out of the side of the game when it comes to Angela and Roland's development, because that's the point, they're just bantering with each other in their natural state. The game is about redemption, the big man himself says so. The slow start is there to humanize them, and without it, they become even harder to redeem, even in a setting where the Homeless Eaters 9000 eat the homeless. I wouldn't care about Roland and his Metal Gear Rising revengeance if it was just ore farming with hype moments. Angela wouldn't have hit me as hard in the head with a steel baseball bat if I didn't see her first steps into the reality of the real world. They both bring me in for the long haul and get me to understand them piece by piece. Roland knows a lot more than he lets on, but isn't cryptic or mysterious about it. His casual it is what it is attitude is brought on because of his attitude on the city. Angela, despite being an AI, has a conscience as she comments on the injustices of the city. However, she has the awareness of a sheltered 6-year-old. If my child brought Angela home, I don't think I would have the heart to say that no child of mine is ever marrying a clanker. In fact, I might even hit a little jig in celebration. Angela and Roland both grow and learn, not just from the city and its inhabitants, but also from the Sephira who have gone through whatever Lobotomy Corporation was. And by the end of Ruina, I couldn't help but love these two goobers. Do I recommend people play this game? No. The game is, kinda long. Not necessarily long, but still long. There's also the entire Lobotomy Corporation issue that you have to get through. Ruina's comprehension curve is also kinda steep, with the need to sit down in an attempt to actually take on what the hell is going on. Along with the actual difficulty of the game, it can be a lot. The story can also be a bit confusing, and continuity can be messed up. You try following 5 different plot lines at the same time over 100 hours, tough guy. The game is also a lot deeper than what I can analyze, which isn't saying much, but ignore that. This game is not for everyone, but personally I love it. It does a lot of things right. Character, world building, building, the story, and the gameplay when it wants to be good. I love the little interactions between every character, and the story wouldn't be the same without the gameplay pulling a lot of weight. The small references and the huge references to other pieces of literature in the story and music add a ton of depth to the characters. The creator is a nerd, and after watching this video and reading this interview, yeah, the creator is a nerd.
Who the fuck let the nerd in? Fuck! I told you like to do it.
But what stuck with me most is that despite its brutal and hopeless presentation, it isn't edgy for the sake of being edgy. The core themes of the game have a lot to do with hope. Face the fear, build the future. Even if the sheer amount of text, its edgy presentation, and difficulty will turn a lot of people off, those that can stick with Ruina can appreciate it, if they could read it. This game is in fact one of my favorite games, and fuck is it good.